Okay, quick question here. The phone you have in your hand right now, the laptop you're probably watching this video on, the car you drive, the AI everybody's going crazy about right now, what do you think they all have in common? They all run on chips, semiconductors, tiny pieces of silicon that power literally every technology on earth. And about 90% of the world's most advanced chips comes from one place, one island, about 180 kilometers off the coast of China. This place is called Taiwan. This is a place that China says belongs to them. This is a place that America has sworn to defend. This is a place that if it disappears tomorrow, the world's technology crumbles within weeks. And right now, China is running one of its largest military exercises ever recorded around this island. China is practicing probably a blockade or an invasion or an encirclement, not hiding it, doing it openly. And so for us to understand what's actually going on right now, where this whole thing started, why it actually matters, and why we are close to one of the most dangerous wars since World War II, we need to go back to 1949. And so in 1949, China's civil war had just ended. But during the civil war, we had two parts. We had the nationalists and the communists. The nationalists, we had Chiang Kai-shek. And then for the communists, we had Mao Zedong. But eventually, Mao Zedong, the communist, won. But when he won, he went to Beijing and he stood and he declared the People's Republic of China, which we today know as China. But Chiang Kai-shek didn't accept this defeat. What did he do? He grabbed everything that he could, the Chinese government apparatus, 600 tons of gold reserve, the national treasury, and over 2 million soldiers and civilians, and fled to the island of Taiwan. Now here is how things got complicated. When Chiang fled to Taiwan, he didn't say, oh, we have lost, so let's go and build a different country entirely. No, he claimed that they were still the legitimate rulers of all of China, and they were the real Chinese government, and that they will retake the mainland. And Mao Zedong said, the people you took with you are our people. The money you took with you is our money. The island where you're living in is our island, and we will reunify by force if necessary. So you see, both sides claimed they were the real China, and a civil war that ended since was not concluded properly. There was no peace treaty, there was no agreement that was signed, and it was just 180 kilometer stretch of water that separated the two countries. And now here's the part that I kind of find very interesting. Because when Chiang fled to Taiwan, he was not supposed to succeed. That was the flip side of the story. Because Taiwan was an island with poor infrastructure, no industry, and a traumatized population. Chiang was never supposed to succeed there, but he did. Taiwan was able to build one of the most successful economies in Asian history. A full democracy, free election, free press, and human rights. And then it did something that quietly made it become the most strategically important piece of land on the planet. It became the world's #1 chip manufacturer. The chips in your phone, your laptop, even the AI everybody's rushing to build. Military fighter jets, there are chips everywhere in literally all the technology. And all of this is gotten from, like, over 90% of the chips used in the world is gotten from one country, one island, one company. TSMC, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. And then economists gave it a term, the Silicon Shield, such that if Taiwan stops, the world's technology literally stops. So no country or no one can afford to destroy or invade Taiwan, because Taiwan is economically important to everyone, including China. But now here is the plot twist. For the last 76 years since the civil war in China, China has never for once acknowledged or recognized Taiwan as a separate country. Such that in Chinese map, Taiwan is included. Even in Chinese schools, they are taught that Taiwan is a Chinese province. And all of the Chinese presidents have promised reunification with China. But then, Xi Jinping came. He's the current president of China. And he has not only promised reunification, he has set a deadline for the reunification, 2027. He said by 2027, all the military preparations should be ready to invade and take Taiwan by force, if necessary, even with America involved or any other superpower involved. So it's not a rumor, neither is it a speculation. And the reason 2027 was picked was because by 2027, the Chinese army, which is called the People's Liberation Army, would be celebrating its 100th anniversary. So for Xi Jinping, a man that is obsessed with historical symbolism, he believes that reclaiming Taiwan will be the greatest, most symbolic achievement in modern Chinese history. And he has been spending accordingly. He has increased China's military budget every single year for the last 30 years. He has built more warships than any country ever has. And China has the largest navy right now, larger than the US Navy. And in 2025, China launched what was called Justice Mission 2025, in which they invaded the Taiwanese airspace, looking for possible loopholes for invasion, blockade, or island encirclement for 3,570 times. That's like roughly 10 times every single day. And you know, the incomplete part of this story is that America has never for once recognized Taiwan as an independent country. As a matter of fact, America's official position is something that is called strategic ambiguity, whereby we don't know, they have not officially come out to state whether they would or would not go to war for Taiwan. And the goal is that if China does not know where America stands officially, then China wouldn't risk finding out. But for the last 2 years, America has sold nuclear weapons worth $11 billion to Taiwan. But this is nothing compared to Chinese military budget of $225 billion. So it's more like officially America doesn't know if it's going to defend Taiwan, but unofficially America is arming Taiwan to the teeth. And here's the problem nobody has a clear solution to. If Taiwan is being invaded by China and America chooses to not intervene, America is going to lose its credibility as a global military power. Its allies in Asia, countries like Japan, South Korea, the Philippines, they will ask themselves, oh, if they don't defend Taiwan, will they defend us? And that's going to be a huge slap on America's face. But let's say America does intervene, it is going to be two superpowers, nuclearly armed, going to war for the first time in history. And that's going to be a catastrophe. So there is no move that does not have huge consequences. I mean, Xi Jinping knows that. That's the whole point. Now, let's say China eventually takes Taiwan. Whichever method, whether it's blockade, invasion, the island encirclement, it does not matter. Taiwan will stop functioning as a free trade producer. And within days, tech companies will start running out of chips that they need to operate with. Companies like Apple, Samsung, Mercedes, Boeing, all of them. And within weeks, car production will halt globally. Within months, you can no longer be able to replace your phone, your laptop, medical equipment, banking infrastructure, power grid infrastructure. Like literally everything that runs or needs advanced chips gets frozen. And if we allow China to control Taiwan, China does not only get the island, it gets the chips, and it gets to decide who uses and who doesn't use the world's most advanced technology. And now that is not something America would want, because America is going to lose Taiwan economically. America is going to lose its technological edge. America is going to lose its military edge. America is going to get lost in its AI race. So it's not a cheap story anymore. It's a power story for these two countries involved, these two superpowers. So where does this end? Honestly, nobody knows. Because some analysts think that an outright invasion by China into Taiwan is not feasible. Not because China cannot do it, but because the cost is too high for now. But what they think is possible is a slow squeeze, probably a blockade, just something that will shrink Taiwan economically and politically, something that will force it, a siege probably, that will force Taiwan to the negotiating table with Taiwan, with China, on China's terms. So the danger isn't necessarily one dramatic invasion. The danger is one miscalculation, one incident, one nervous commander, one wrong decision at a particular moment, and that could turn a regional standoff into a global catastrophe. I need you to remember that the next time you pick up your phone. So let me know in the comment section, did you know that Taiwan produced 90% of the world's most advanced chips? Because I, for one, didn't recognize or understand how much of the world's technology runs through that small island. Also, don't forget to tell me the most interesting part of this story for you. I am Miriama, and I tell world stories in a way that is put without confusion. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.